In the news tonight,
Definitely we are getting support from the donors, and we are in solidarity with all our colleagues in government.
Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees reveals action points to mitigate floods.
He has been like a mother to his family. He has been the breadwinner.
Flood victims laid to rest. Relatives speak out on matters.
Swear in the name of the Almighty God that I'll give faithful service to this Parliament.
Plus, DP President takes oath in Parliament, takes his position in August House. And in sports, Clive Chazé brings us the latest report as he tunes in live from Birmingham. A very good evening to you. It is the second day of August 2022. Thank you for tuning in to CTV. This is a PM edition. My name is Bernadette Apio. Also on the program, Isaac Luchamuzi. We start in the Elgon region, where government now says it will start distribution of food to families of those affected by the floods in the Elgon region. Several families were left starving after the disastrous floods from Mount Elgon rocked the areas. At least 29 people have been confirmed dead from these incidents. The details.
Over the weekend, floods rocked the Elgon region, destroying property worth millions of shillings and claiming lives of at least 29 people. Today, efforts to help the affected saw government, through the office of the Prime Minister, deliver 30 tons of food to the people who are starving as a result of the floods. While addressing journalists today, the Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Hilary Onek, gave a detailed report of the incident. According to Minister Onek, the magnitude of the catastrophe, revealing that vehicles were destroyed in Mbale City and over 8,000 households and houses were damaged after buildings submerged.
Subaru, with 4 occupants, only 2 were rescued alive. 2 missing, which 3 occupants, 2 survived, 1 missing. A Harrier with no occupants parked at home. Super Custom still submerged with 11 occupants. 1 driver survived. After 800 households, 80 houses damaged.
He adds that bridges and health centers were destroyed and properties such as crops and animals, including cattle, pigs, fish and poultry, were also lost in some parts.
Opening up of the cracks, landslide, rock falls and massive soil erosion. The flooding destroyed river banks, people's homes, gardens, crops, animals, bridges, roads, water points, contaminated and blocked and submerged.
The Disaster Preparedness Minister also wants the people who are still living on the slopes of Mount Elgon to relocate to safer grounds in order to avert similar occurrences.
And the sub-counties affected are all listed here. They are Bumufuni, Vikonge, Nabongo, and others. Areas along the rivers, streams are almost affected. There is need to relocate settlements and farming activities from these areas.
According to the Minister, the Ministry of Relief Disaster Preparedness is currently working with other stakeholders to manage the crisis. According to the Resident City Commission of Mbale, food distribution to the affected will start on Wednesday, the 3rd of August.
Tulinze enkalala ziveeyo zetegerezebwe bwe zibanga zezo zennyini entuufu enkeera okutandika okugaba emmere kutandike kw'abo abantu abakosebwa.
At the moment, rescue efforts are still going on in the area to try and retrieve the bodies that are still missing. Hope Nyongereza, CTV, PM edition.
Thank you, Hope, for starting us off. Continuing with that story, so far 29 people have been confirmed to have died in the floods that took place over the weekend in the districts of Mbale, Sirongo and Kapchorwa. One of the people who died in the flood is Samuel Bosa from Mulago, who had gone to attend an introduction ceremony of a friend. We have more.
27-year-old Samuel Bosa, a resident of Nalwewoba zone in Mulago, is one of the passengers of the minibus van that sank in the floods in Mbale City following the heavy downpour in the Elgon region. In Nalwewoba zone, we found neighbors, relatives, and friends all mourning Bosa, who died along with 4 other people who were all part of Power of Resurrection Church in Mulago and were living in the same neighborhood.
So we lost around 10 people yesterday in the floods which happened in Mbale, and the bodies were brought yesterday night at around midnight, and we had to give them to different families.
Among the 11 people who were on board, only one survived, while the rest drowned in the floods. Sarah Nakawesi, Bosa's wife, says she immediately realized something went wrong when she tried to reach out to Bosa and the colleagues, but failed to get through.
I tried calling, but his phones were not going through. Then I tried a friend's number, and it was also off. All other phone numbers I had were also off.
He had to attend a colleague's wedding. They left this place at 10 o'clock.
Nakawesi says she does not know what to do for her 2 babies since her husband was the sole breadwinner.
He was my husband and was my everything.
Local leaders have called out on 2 others to run to the aid of the affected families.
These people have families, and most of them, like these gentlemen, these 3 gentlemen, their wives were not working. So at this moment, we are calling upon those people who can come and help these families because they are badly off.
Grace Bontubulamu, a friend and co-workmate of the late Samuel Bosa, remembers him as a generous man.
He has been a good friend to me at a personal level and at the workplace. We've been working together. He has been communicating with me some of his plans, personal plans. He has been a very caring father, uncomparable. He has been like a mother to his family. He has been the breadwinner. He has done so much. He has been a humble guy. He loved peace. He was a peaceful guy.
The floods that claim ravaged several areas in Mbale City, washing away homes, vehicles, crops, and also submerged roads including Mbale Soroti, Mbale Tororo, and Mbale Tirinyi, paralyzing traffic on the usual busy routes. Tony Patira Humza, CTV, PM Edition.
Quite sad. May his soul rest in eternal peace. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, has today revealed that the families who lost members in Saturday's devastating floods will each receive 5 million shillings as condolences from the President. The Prime Minister also revealed that they have established a long-term resettlement plan for people living in the affected areas.
In a parliamentary sitting held today, legislators paid tribute to the over 120 people that have been reported dead as a result of floods in Mbale, Kapchorwa and Soronko. A moment of silence was observed today.
May their souls rest in eternal peace.
Members then debated on what should be done to rescue the people who have been affected in a discussion that was led by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among.
On a third note, this weekend was a catastrophic one of our people in Elgon. Heavy rains triggered flooding, landslides, and killing so many people.
I have a very big slum of Namatala, which has over 50,000 people. And as I speak, they don't have any drinking water because when the floods came, they contaminated the water that these communities survive on. So we don't.
You know what we are seeing in Mbale is as the effect of what's happening in the mountains. The team which went to Mbale stopped in Mbale town, which has not even extended far out of the Mbale.
The bodies that so far are being retrieved from the river is cut off the efforts of the locals. And even when they were called to help. One could not even dare brave the waters to help retrieve a body. So they are lacking in the skill and expertise of rescuing.
Responding to the matters raised by the MPs, the Prime Minister Robert Nabanja confirmed that government had sent food relief of up to a tune of 90 metric tons to the districts of Mbale, Kapchorwa, Sironko and Mbale City, and each family of the victims will receive 5 million Uganda shillings.
His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda has committed 5 million to each bereaved family to cover burial expenses. The list of the dead from the Resident District Commissioner, Mbale, is hereby attached. You can check.
Nabanja revealed that efforts to extract bodies of the deceased continue along Nabuyongoka River and the affected bridges. Rains continue to threaten the same place. Prime Minister Robert Nabanja says they have so far introduced several warning mechanisms, including special roadblocks.
Police will also set up roadblocks to prevent people from crossing dangerous bridges and other occasions in case of imminent danger.
Some of the affected families, especially in the disaster-prone areas, are expected to be resettled to Walambuli district. According to the Prime Minister, over 100 houses, including a health center and a school, have been built in a project that has been ongoing for the last 5 years. The forthcoming plan will see people resettled in town areas.
People who have illegally encroached on the wetlands or settled close to the river banks and the forests will be evicted and resettled.
5 years ago, government embarked on a plan to resettle people in the disaster-prone areas. An estimated 5,600 people have been displaced, with over 150 households submerged and swept downstream in the latest floods. Ramson Mhire, CTV PM Edition.
Thank you, Ramson. Still in Parliament, officials from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, led by the State Minister Okasai Opolot, were today chased out of Parliament by the Ad hoc Committee of Parliament on the Bujagali project, which is being chaired by Shema Municipality MP Dickson Kateshumbwa. According to Kateshumbwa, the officials from the ministry failed to provide satisfactory information on Bujagali hydropower project. Here is more.
The Ad hoc Committee of Parliament on Bujagali today kicked off its investigation into the government request to grant Bujagali hydropower project a tax exemption of 5 years. The committee, which is led by the Shema Municipality Member of Parliament Dickson Kateshumbwa, today met stakeholders from the energy sector, led by officials from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. While appearing before the committee, the members were questioned on the mode of agreement, shareholding, among others.
2005. So these are the issues we must look at, Mr. Chairman, because that will be the basis on how to know what was agreed from the beginning, amendments and removal of amendments up to the end.
As far as I'm concerned, Chair, we provide the first version of it.
There's a lot of consultation there. Since they don't agree with you, please consult. We need clear information. One, proceed professionally. How did you reach the agreement? What was the strategic rationale for government intervening all the way up to now?
Chairman, the minister's document was meant for some areas. You should even tell us what did we start with.
Officials from the energy sector today failed to convince the committee, which prompted the chairperson of the committee to send them away for a week to put their matters in order. According to Dickson Kateshumbwa, the committee chairperson, the team led by the State Minister of Energy has been sent away for up to a week to collect documents to be presented before the committee to help determine the future of Bujagali hydropower dam.
To understand it. And my understanding it was, yes, I can understand interest on debt. I can understand others, but I didn't understand what actual return on equity payment is. To understand the minister's statement.
So this committee will decide whether to extend or not to extend.
Or to withdraw.
So we need you to give us information, disclose whatever information that can help us. So help the people of Uganda.
There is still a lot of work to do. And that's why we have asked the ministry and its agencies to come back on Tuesday with more information.
In 2005, government entered into an agreement with Bujagali Energy Limited to help manage the power tariffs. Legislators are now wondering why to this date it has not yet been implemented.
We need to understand what were the major terms in the first agreement and what were the obligations. Why did we amend? We have looked at the financials. There are commitments. There is a shareholder agreement. What were the benefits?
The committee report will be presented on the floor of Parliament upon completion of the investigation for a final decision. Sarah Nakandi for CTV, PM Edition.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has challenged the newly appointed Minister of Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, to address issues of human rights and those of political prisoners. Among made the remarks just after Mao took his oath in Parliament this afternoon as he was handed over the Constitution and the Parliamentary Rules of Procedures.
The newly appointed Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, made his way to Parliament this afternoon, where he took oath to serve and protect the Constitution.
Swear in the name of the Almighty God that I'll give faithful service to this Parliament and support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established. So help me God.
Mao was welcomed by the members of Parliament to take his seat on the government side by the Yellow members, led by the leader of government business and Prime Minister, Yobina Nabanja.
So out of you, here is the Constitution that you've sworn to uphold to help you in your day-to-day work, and the rules of procedure to help you in your day-to-day work. And in addition, we have issues of human rights. We have issue of prisoners that have been in prison, political prisoners. It is good you come at this time, and we hope to get the best out of you.
In his view, the leader of opposition, Mathias Impuga, who questioned why the DP president was taken on the government side, yet he has members still sitting on the side of the opposition.
How the opposition should consider the status of the members from the DP while I'm whipping for House business when they are president this side, and the rules prescribe the manner of doing business in the House of the Speaker under Rule 9. Would you please guide on how we should proceed?
I want, Madam Speaker, to ask you whether the procedure taken by colleagues from the other side of yelling and of shouting and clapping, including the Prime Minister, whether it is not offending our rules, Madam Speaker.
We cannot go by what Slope was talking about. All we have is a person as a Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Can we go to the next slide?
Meanwhile, in the same sitting, the newly elected
support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda
as
by law established.
To be an effective leader and a servant of the people of Soroti. Sarah Nakandi for CTV, PM Edition.
PM Edition takes a short break, but still to come, UCC plans to kick out fake mobile phones from the market. More after the break.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV. Don't blink.
Do you love me?
Very much.
I'll catch you one day. Pants down.
I want to spoil you. I want you to eat my money.
She believes I'm in love with her guy. Will you go? If I had to leave everywhere I'm not loved, where would I end up? The dirty guy hides in the hospital for 40 years, but at night, he walks the streets, commits crimes, and then he comes back and pretends to be alive again. I will break you, Spooky. Do not answer any question about Roho kwa Roho. It's your brain!
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching a PM edition. The newly appointed chairman of the General Court Martial, Brigadier General Freeman Robert Mugabe, together with other members, have been officially sworn in to start their duties. The swearing-in ceremony took place at the General Court Martial in Machinde and was presided over by Judge Advocate Colonel Ronald Tuka Chugura.
Yesterday, former chairman of the General Court Martial Andrew Guti handed over office to Brigadier General Freeman Robert Mugabe. Today, Brigadier General Robert Mugabe took the oath of allegiance to start his duties.
Brigadier General Robert Freeman Mugabe swear by Almighty God that I will well and truly try the accused persons before the court according to the evidence, and that I will duly administer justice according to the Uganda People's Defense Forces Act without partiality, favor or affection, and I further swear that I will not at any time whatsoever disclose or discover the vote of opinion of any member of this court-martial unless thereunto required in due course of the law. So help me God.
Other court members who took oath also include Brigadier General Ronald Solomon, Lieutenant Colonel Sam Tungula, Angela Catherine Laker, Captain Rusi Nicole Eturu, and Captain Abdu Basajja Balaba.
Brigadier Ronald Solomon Bigirwa swear by the Almighty God that I will well and truly try the accused persons before the court according to the evidence, and that I will duly administer justice according to the Uganda People's Defense Forces Act.
Without partiality, favor or affection. And I further swear that I will not at any time whatsoever disclose or discover the vote or opinion of the chairman or any other member of this court-martial unless thereunto required in due course of the law. So help me God.
The reserve members and technical team include Colonel Bernard Tumwesingwire, Colonel David Chidege Ositi, Colonel Emmanuel David Mohanguzi, Colonel Joseph Okalebo, and Lieutenant Colonel Sebastian Bosha Kaliesula.
David Mukuma swear by the Almighty God that I will well
truly try the accused persons before the court according to the evidence, and that I will duly administer justice according to the Uganda People's Defense Forces Act.
And truly try the accused persons before the court according to the evidence, and that I will duly administer justice according to the Uganda People's Defense Forces Act without partiality, favor, or affection.
The last person to take oath today was the judge advocate after conducting in the swearing.
The duties of judge advocate in accordance with the Uganda People's Defense Forces Act and the regulations made under it, and without partiality, favor, or affection. And I further swear that I will not, on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose or discover the vote or opinion on any matter of the chairman or any other member of this court-martial unless they are amply required in due course of the law. So help me God.
The 28 members of the General Court-Martial were appointed by the Commander-in-Chief and President Yoweri Museveni on 9th June. The appointment follows Lieutenant General Andrew Guti's retirement as a UPDF after his term expired as chairman of the court. Story by Flavian Inkuze for CTV PM Edition.
In business, according to the Uganda Communications Commission, Ugandans have up to 6 months to upgrade their mobile handsets if they are not genuine. UCC today announced that it will be switching off over 6 million mobile devices which do not meet the required standards, irrespective of telecom service provider.
According to the Uganda Bureau of Standards, over 30 million people own and depend on mobile phones, either genuine or fake. Many of the fake phones on the market have been proven to be a risk to phone users, something that has prompted the Uganda Communications Commission, the body tasked with regulating the communications sector in the country, to come out with a warning. According to the regulator, Ugandans have up to 6 months to upgrade their handsets before they are switched off for their own protection.
This phase of empowerment, this phase of awareness, we plan to have it for about 6 months. We believe that this period, if well appreciated, we can then transit to the next phase. But of course, these time frames are not cast in stone. We shall evaluate with our partners in this exercise whether we can then move to the next phase.
Fred Otuno, the acting executive director of the Uganda Communication Commission, says close to 6 million handsets are currently in circulation. He says all these will be normal. Ugandans have also been given a code to check the status of their own phones.
There is also *197 *4#. That also takes you direct, without going to the menu, to know your status of the phone.
According to UCC, they are now liaising with the Uganda Revenue Authority, the Uganda National Bureau of Standards and other stakeholders to ensure that only genuine phone devices are allowed to enter the country. The Commission says all phones in the country should meet the global standards.
What we are about to undertake, this campaign, this exercise, is not coming from anywhere, but it has a backing of both the policy and the law. The National ICT Policy of 2014 speaks to issues to do with consumer protection, and that is where we have the whole exercise emanating from.
The Uganda Communication Commission is now leading the campaign dubbed SIM Clear, which aims at sensitizing the masses and the public about the dangers of using fake mobile communication devices. Safi, Mokili, Balogu and Chris, Samale Musimakula for CTV, PM Edition.
The Shadow Cabinet has today announced the appointment of Kilak North County MP Gilbert Olanya as the new chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament on Local Government, replacing Bandege Laibi MP Ojara Mapinduzi. According to the Shadow Minister for Information, Joyce Bagala, the changes are meant to facilitate the smooth running of businesses for the Shadow Cabinet.
So the announcement is different from when you make the decision. So it's not sudden. we look at what we want to do. We looked at our objectives, our goals, and we made the decision to do the mini reshuffle, actually changes. The Honourable Mapenduzi does not sit alone on that committee. He sits with other members of parliament, he has a vice chairperson, but also relates very well with Honourable Gilbert Olanya, so I'm very sure they're going to have an interface for him to tell him to where to start from and probably hand over whichever files, whichever reports have been in the offing or have been in completion.
You know, local government handles very wide scope of its work. It looks at the city's accountability, municipality accountability, town council accountability, district accountabilities, and secondary schools accountability. It means we have enormous activities before us, and together with the committee, I think we shall work for the betterment of this country.
What I need to urge her of is to be united and to work together with us. Personally, I think I've not been exempted from my roles and responsibilities, but I've just been put aside of my office, and therefore it will give me enough opportunity and enough time to interact freely with the fishermen as a foot soldier. Most of my work will be in the field.
I intend on having my alternatives. Alternative policies, alternative proposals, alternative ideas in the fisheries sector, and I sell them to her because she's the one to implement. Basically, the opposition is there to guide the government. So for me, basically, I think I will give in my alternatives, and if they don't work upon them, I'll insist they are worked upon.
You're still watching a PM edition. In news from the region, a newly released poll by Ipsos suggests that presidential candidate Raila Odinga is ahead by 47%, while in Senegal, the race to the presidential election gets heated. Here is more. A new poll by Ipsos suggests that Azimio-La Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga is ahead in the race to State House by 47%. UDA's presidential candidate, Deputy President William Ruto, comes in second at 41%. According to the poll released today, Roots Party of Kenya presidential candidate George Wajakoya has 2.9%, while Agano Party of Kenya's David Mwaure Wahiga has 0.2%. According to Ipsos, Raila has more than 55% of more in 18 counties, while Ruto has the same threshold in 17 counties, with 11 counties seen as battlegrounds. The poll shows that 85% of the respondents said that they have an intention to vote, while 6% said they were somewhat likely to vote. 4% said they will not be voting, and 5% said that they were unsure if they would vote or not. The poll shows that Raila leads at the coast at 56%, Lower Eastern 67%, Northern Kenya 46%, South Rift 52%, Western 53%, Nyanza North 89%, Nyanza South 64%, and Nairobi 60%. The main reasons that the respondents say that they will not vote for Raila are his age, 32%, and the perception that he is a government project. The main reason that they would not vote for Ruto is because of his perceived links to corruption. Some 47% of the respondents say they will not vote for Mwaure because they do not know him, while 14% say that he is inexperienced. The respondents say that Wajakoya supports illegal activities and his manifesto is not clear, and this is the reason they will not vote for him. The presidential camp and the opposition each stood firm on Monday in claiming to have won Sunday's parliamentary elections in Senegal as the vote count continued. These legislative elections, the last before the presidential election of 2024, are a test after the local elections of January won by opposition in major cities of this West African country known for its stability, such as Dakar, Ziguinchor and Thiès West. On Sunday night, Aminatu Touré had assured to have won 30 departments out of 46 that Senegal has and constituencies abroad, while acknowledging the defeat in Dakar, the capital. The statement was followed by a statement from the main opposition coalition, which also claimed victory, speaking of a comfortable majority for the Yewi Walu intercoalition. The statement said, "We wish to warn national and international opinion against any attempt to manipulate the results, and we also call on all Senegalese to stand up for the security of the people's victory." Other stories making headlines across the globe. President Joe Biden announces the death of Al-Qaeda leader, while UN head warns of a devastating impact of nuclear annihilation.
Now, justice has been delivered.
President Joe Biden announced Monday that Al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri was killed in a U.S. drone strike in Kabul. An operation, he says, delivered justice and hopefully one more measure of closure to families of the September 11, 2001 attacks on the United States. In an evening address from the White House, Biden said that U.S. intelligence officials tracked al-Zawahiri to a home in downtown Kabul where he was hiding out with his family. Al-Zawahiri and the better-known Osama bin Laden plotted the 9/11 attacks that brought many ordinary Americans to their first knowledge of Al-Qaeda. Bin Laden was killed in Pakistan on May 2, 2011, in an operation carried out by the U.S. Navy SEALs after a nearly decade-long hunt. Biden has said he will never again allow Afghanistan to become a terrorist safe haven because he is gone, and we're going to make sure that nothing else happens. Al-Zawahiri's death eliminates the figure who more than anyone shaped Al-Qaeda, first as bin Laden's deputy since 1998, then as his successor. Together, he and bin Laden turned the jihadi movement guns to target the United States, carrying out the deadliest attack ever on American soil, the September 11 suicide hijackings. The house Al-Zawahiri was in when he was killed was owned by a top aide to the senior Taliban leader, Sirujadin Haqqani, according to a senior intelligence official. The official also added that the CIA ground team aerial reconnaissance conducted after the drone strike confirmed Al-Zawahiri's death. UN head Antonio Guterres has warned that the world is facing a nuclear danger not seen since the height of the Cold War and is just one miscalculation away from nuclear annihilation. Guterres is calling on nations to put humanity on a new path towards a world free of nuclear weapons. Guterres' comments came at the opening 10th Review Conference of the NPT, an international treaty that came into force in 1970 to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. The meeting, held at the UN's headquarters in New York, has been postponed several times since 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It will run until August 26th. Guterres said the conference was a chance to strengthen the treaty and make it fit for the worrying world around, citing Russia's war in Ukraine and tensions on the Korean Peninsula and in the Middle East. He added eliminating nuclear weapons is the only guarantee they will never be used, but Secretary General implored, adding that he would visit Hiroshima for the anniversary of the August 6, 1945 atomic bombing of the Japanese city by the United States. Almost 13,000 nuclear weapons are now being held in arsenals around the world. All this at a time when the risks of proliferation are growing and guardrails to prevent escalation are weakening. In January, the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, the United States, China, Russia, Britain and France, had pledged to prevent the further dissemination of nuclear weapons. At the last review conference in 2015, the parties were unable to reach agreement on substantive issues. PM Edition takes another short break and returns with news from the world of sports.
the Commonwealth Update, brought to you by Ababate.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching PM Edition. In sports tonight, day 5 of the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham has been nothing but action-packed, with several Ugandans coming out hoisting the flag high. Clive Chaze, who is in the UK, joins us now. Clive, it's good to see you. How has Uganda performed today? Good evening. How has Uganda performed today?
Well, we are still celebrating the one medal that we did win on Saturday morning when Victor Lagat did win gold in that marathon. But you could say that today is another day that Uganda could probably win another medal, though very many people want it to be gold for obvious reasons. At 10:35 p.m., the 10,000 meters final will be on, and Ugandan Jacob Kiplimo will be trying to defend gold or to win that gold medal that Uganda has won since 2006 when Boniface Kiprop got to win it. 2010, Moses Kitsuro won it in New Delhi before defending it 4 years later in Glasgow. And 4 years ago, it was Josh Cheptegei who did that gold medal in the 10,000 meters. So you could say that the mantle has been passed on to the next generation, and it happens to be that it is Jacob Kiplimo who is in line to see that Uganda does continue to dominate the 10,000 meters at the Commonwealth Games. I'm looking at the time, and when you look at the pack of 9 runners, actually Jacob Kiplimo has the best time coming into this one, 26 minutes, 33.93 seconds. But also when you look at the list of the season best the times that those runners have been able to run this season, he still has the best time of 27 minutes, 27.97 seconds. So you could say that he is a front runner going into this race, and anything less than gold will be a very, very, very big disappointment. But away from that, just a few minutes ago, we did have the third game in the netball, where the She Cranes were taking on the host nation, England. And unfortunately, England have defeated the She Cranes 56-35, meaning Uganda do lose their second game of the competition, and that paralyzes their chances of actually advancing to the knockout stages of this competition. They needed to beat either England or New Zealand for them to advance, but they have lost to both teams, and chances are high that England and New Zealand will be number 1 and number 2 going into the semi-finals of the competition. At exactly 10 p.m., Owen Chibira, a Ugandan boxer fighting in the welterweight category, will be taking on Ali Hosama, and of course it is a round of 16 tie, and the winner does qualify for the quarterfinals. Qualifying for the quarterfinals puts you 1 victory away from a bronze medal, where you already have Joshua Kamhewa of Uganda, the captain of the Bombers, and Teddy Nachimbi. Those two will be fighting tomorrow, but Owen Chibira is in the ring today at 10 p.m. So we are waiting to see how that will pan out. But all eyes will be on Jacob Kiplimo, 10:35 p.m. as he tries to defend Uganda's 10,000 meters gold medal at the Commonwealth Games.
Clive, a lot of information you've given us, a lot of information to unpack there. So I'll ask you 2 questions that I hope you can answer very quickly. What do we have lined up tomorrow? And for you who has been covering, what has impressed you so far about covering the games?
Maybe with what is lined up tomorrow, we have 2 boxers in action. Like we did say, Joshua Kamhewa, the Bombers captain, is in action, fighting against a Canadian. Then you also have Teddy Nachimbi in action. Now, these 2 are fighting in the quarterfinals, meaning that a win for them guarantees them a bronze medal because they qualify for the semifinals. Everyone who qualifies for the semifinals is guaranteed of a bronze medal, but that bronze medal can upgrade to a silver or gold if they can win their semifinal and qualify for the finals. On your next question, probably what has impressed me the most is the organization of this place. It is not that the tournament, rather the competition fell from heaven. These people have invested a lot of time in organization, a lot of time in making sure that everything moves the way it is supposed to move. And guess what? We don't need to spend any penny on transport, or no spectator needs to spend any penny on transport, because it is free transport as long as you have a match ticket to get wherever that you want to get towards the games.
Thank you, Clive, for that update. I know we'll continue to hear from you. That was Clive Chaze coming to you live from the United Kingdom. But moving on, sports personalities in athletics, basketball, ludo, racing and football have today been recognized at the Fortbet Real Star Sports Awards. Some of the sports personalities who walked out with awards include rally ace Umar Daudi and long distance runner Victor Kiplangat. We have more.
Umar Dauda, who earned his maiden National Rally Championship win in Fort Portal, was recognized as the best in the world of motorsport for the month of July at the Fortbet Real Star Awards, organized by Real Star Sports Agency. Dauda was quick to show his excitement.
Today's achievement, it's a motivation to us, because whenever you come up with such people who can at least recognize your performance and your sport in general, at least in one way or the other, it motivates you at least to make it to the next event, to see that you push to the limits, in that at least even the next month, at least I'll be here.
What a moment for Uganda. What a moment for Victor Kiplangat.
Other winners include Victor Kiplangat in athletics, who won Uganda's first ever Commonwealth Games men's marathon gold at the current Games in Birmingham. Other sports personalities who are recognized include Amuri Mukasa, who had impressive displays at the Masaza tournament with Singo, Kamelo Hamisi in basketball, who has been exceptional with Nam Blazers at the top of the National Basketball League, and Daniel Wanyama, who stood out in the game of Ludo. According to Isaac Mukasa, the founder of the awards, the month of July saw many sportsmen excel at various levels.
Now when they go to compete internationally, they'll come back with the accolades, as you see in the World Championship, we gave them the medal, and the medal, then in the Birmingham, where Commonwealth Games have been going, we have already a medal. That's our target. That's what we want, to see competition in all sports disciplines.
These awards are very important. One, in recognizing stars, not just in the big sports like football and rugby, but even in the smaller, less popular, less known sports.
The Real Star Awards are held at the beginning of every new month to recognize athletes and sports personalities who have excelled in various fields in the previous month. Noah Walakira, CTV, PM Edition.
What a way to seal gold. Just superb.
We have come to the end of PM Edition. To get more on these and other stories, head on to our website at ctv.co.ug. PM Edition returns tomorrow. From the entire PM Edition crew, have yourselves a lovely night.